Good morning, Church.
Who's viewing out the elements today? Somebody? Yeah. In 1 Corinthians 11:26, Paul says that every time you eat this bread, drink this cup, you proclaim the death of the Lord until he comes. And I just want to unpack that a little bit today. What did he mean that we proclaim the death of the Lord? Well, first of all, we proclaim it to ourselves because we are forgetful people. It's so easy for us to get caught up in life. It's so easy for us to just go on doing the stuff and forget what it was that made it possible for us to do the stuff in the first place. So we need to proclaim Jesus' death to ourselves as often as possible. And when we take these elements, we can't help but remember that Jesus went to that cross, that his body was broken, that his blood was shed for us. It wasn't for himself. He hadn't done anything wrong. He hadn't committed any crime. But he went there as us. And you know, in this Gospels it says that when he came before Pilate, he was silent. And I used to really, really get upset with the Lord about that. I used to say, you know, Jesus, why? Surely you could have just said, I didn't do anything. Surely you could have just stood up for yourself. And then, quite some years ago now, the Lord revealed to me he couldn't say anything because he wasn't standing there as himself. He was standing there as us. And he was not guilty, but we were totally guilty. If he had said at that point, no, I'm not guilty, then he would have been stopped representing us, stopped standing there as us, and would have been standing as himself. And the benefit would have been lost to us. We need to remind ourselves constantly that that death was for us. It was because of our sin. And it wasn't, as Steve was preaching this morning, it wasn't just to get us into heaven someday. It was to bring us into the kingdom of God, to restore us into what God intended in the first place. God created us in his own image and likeness. He created us to be like him. And we lost that through the fall. But Romans 8:29 tells us that whom God foreknew, he predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son. So when we come to Jesus on the basis of his death on our behalf, God restores that original purpose. And he begins to transform us into the way he intended us to be in the first place. And as we take this bread and this cup, that's what we proclaim to ourselves. We also proclaim his death to the world. You know, the world tries to deny the reality of Christ. It tries to deny the reality of the Gospels. It tries to deny God in every way. But the truth is, there was a real man whose name was Jesus and who went to a real cross to die for real sin. We proclaim that when we take this bread and this wine. We also proclaim it to the devil and all his hordes. Because when Jesus hung on that cross, he defeated Satan. The word says, for this reason, for this purpose, was the Son of God manifest to destroy the works of the evil one. Jesus has cancelled the devil's power. He has taken back the keys of the kingdom that were given to the devil by Adam and Eve when they first sinned. He's taken back this earth as part of the kingdom of God. And even though the devil tries to still enforce stuff in this world, he does not have the authority. When we take this communion, we declare that Jesus has died and he has won the victory.
Hallelujah. Yes.
In Corinthians it talks about that he has led captivity captive. And the picture that it draws is of a Roman triumph when the emperor who had been out and had conquered the other countries came back into Rome, and the kings that he had conquered would be chained behind his chariot, naked, and forced to run behind his chariot. That's the position that the devil's in, because of what Jesus did. You know, yes, we're still involved in warfare. And then the example that I like to use is after the Second World War. Even when the victory had been won, there were pockets of Japanese soldiers, particularly through the different islands, where they either hadn't heard that they'd been defeated, or they chose not to believe that they'd been defeated. And so the Allies in those places still had to go and fight them to evict them from those places. And that's what the sort of warfare that we're in now. You know, the devil refuses to acknowledge his defeat, so we have to go and enforce it.
Yes.
But we're not fighting to win the victory, we're fighting to enforce the victory that Jesus has already won. And that is what we proclaim when we take these elements.
Hallelujah.
The night that Jesus was betrayed, he took bread, he broke it and blessed it. He said, "Take and eat. This is my body that is broken for you." Father, we just thank you that Jesus came, that he allowed his body to be broken for us, and we receive afresh all that he achieved. Thank you, Lord. Let's eat together. After the supper, he took the cup. He blessed it. He said, "Take and drink, all of you. This is the blood of the new covenant, shed for you.
Thank you, Jesus.
Let us drink together."
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Lord.